Hey, it's Sifa. I'm gonna be doing a little Q&A video today that I asked people, some of my friends and fans online, to ask me some questions about myself. And if you have any questions in regards to, let's say, my experiences in the psych hospital, or my experiences with self-injury, anorexia, about my scars, about my time in pro-ana, pro-suicide, and pro-self-injury communities, how I coped, how I dealt with people, how I recovered, my meditation, my Zen Buddhism, therapy, psych meds, my studying psychology, my poetry. If you have any questions about anything like that, let me know, because I'm going to make another one of these videos soon. So, but these are just a few that some people had for me, because people are always asking me questions, and I love getting questions, you know, and educating people. So please keep the questions coming. I'm going to make another video like this soon, okay? So let's see. The first question I'm going to answer is from Amy Frosty, and she is a model online. And she asked me, when I was suffering from anorexia, can I explain what I actually saw in the mirror? Well, you know, obviously I had a very warped image of myself because I was underweight, and I knew that I wasn't, you know, like, fat, but I also didn't realize how underweight I was, because, like, I would look in the mirror and I would see, like, these bulging places or on my stomach and my hips and stuff, and I thought that I was, like, really overweight, you know, but in reality, I was underweight. And I remember one time I went to the gym, and I would try to work out, but I would always, like, pass out and, like, black out, you know? And I was talking to a trainer at the gym, and she told me, she was like, you're way too thin to even try to be, like, running or working out right now. Like, you know, she told me that I shouldn't even, she told me that I shouldn't even be working out because I was way too thin. And that just shocked me. I was like, how is that possible when all the girls at the gym are, like, way thinner than me? I was like, that doesn't make any sense. I didn't tell her that, but I was thinking that. I was, like, so confused, and, you know, but, okay. Alexa Flores, if y'all know Alexa, she's the owner of Alex Addicted Online. She's a dear friend of mine. She wants to know, how many personalities are in me and do they have names? Now, this is a really interesting question, and I'm wondering how she knew about this. Whether I had told her something about it, or I don't know how she knows about this, because I've never talked about it a lot online before. But my name Sifa is actually the name of a little girl inside of me. And she's this little sad girl who was always wearing, like, a white Lolita dress and always crying with bare feet and long blonde curls. And she is kind of, if you know anything about psychology, she represents kind of roughly my superego, or my, like, inner child or whatever. And she's just very innocent and pure, and, like, you know, and I always try to make her happy and make her, well, this was a long time ago. I don't feel like this anymore, obviously, but I would always try to make her happy. And it's not like I was, like, it's not like she was a personality and I would, like, become her. I wouldn't, like, you know, become her or anything. She was just inside of me, like, a part of who I was. And now I see Sifa in visions, and I interact with her when I meditate and things like that. I've come to be able to heal her and make her happy finally. So, you know, she's just a part of me. And then there's also Antonia. Antonia is her sister. But Antonia is tall and dark, and for years, for most of her life, she lived in a rusted, bloody cage, and she would claw at the cage and claw at her skin. She would claw and leave these big gashes in her skin. And to be honest, I never saw her out of her cage until just a few months ago. If you look at the last poem I put up, it's called, I don't know what it's, I'm sorry, I don't know what it's called, but I'll put a link to it below here. The last poem that I put up, it's about me healing Sifa and Antonia, and all of us being healthy and happy together. So those are the personalities in me, and their names are Sifa and Antonia, and that's where my name comes from, because I kind of, when I'm online, I take on this, like, kind of, like, a very nurturing role, you know, kind of, and that's how I've always been. Even when I was little online, I was always very innocent and, like, feminine and nurturing online, so that's why I named myself Sifa online. Justice wants to ask me, and Justice is another dear friend of mine, he wants to know, what do you say to people when people continuously bother me for not eating? Oh my god, I came up with so many excuses. And the funny thing is that I completely 100% believed every single excuse I came up with. I believed them all. Even though they weren't even true. Like, I lied and I made myself believe it. I remember I told people that my medication that I take made me gain weight, so I couldn't eat like a normal person. I could only eat like really healthy or like not very much at all. And, you know, nobody ever said anything. Like, and I also told people that like, that I just liked eating healthy, or that, and I also told people that like, fattening food made me sick, which it actually did because I like wasn't used to eating it. But, I usually just told people that I couldn't eat because of my medication. That's what I usually told people. And as far as my mom goes, because she's the one who saw it the most and really knew what was going on, she would just, you know, always be like, Sifa, you need to see a doctor, you're too thin, you're not eating. And I would just like blow it off and be like, what I would tell her is I'd be like, you need to get help before I do, because you've had a problem way longer than I have. And I was like, I'm not getting help until you do, because this is ridiculous, because you're a freaking hypocrite for telling me to get help. Because she's been morbidly obese my entire life. Ever since I was a baby, she's been morbidly obese. And back in the 90s, this wasn't like an everyday thing. My mom was like the only overweight person that in like our town, you know, because people were thin then in the 90s, but now it's different. Now it's more common to have an overweight mom, but it was hard, and you know, growing up like that, and it really affected me. But anyway, what am I even talking about? Oh my god. Sorry, I just completely went off on a tangent. So yeah, I would just tell her like, you need to stop being a hypocrite and get help, you know, whatever. Amber Lynn Herman, my friend, wants to know, what was the best and worst part about the psych ward? I, at times, loved the psych ward. When I was an adolescent, I loved it. I loved it so much because when I was there, I was able to be myself wholly and fully, and nobody judged me. Nobody told me that I was bad or wrong or that I was weird, and I could just be myself and talk. I could be open. I could say what was bothering me, because I wasn't always the Sifa that tells all of her troubles and all of her deep secrets online. I never was that until recently. For the majority of my life, I still have friends today that don't know why I was in the psych ward when I was 14. And, but it's good because you can talk without the fear of being judged. The worst part of it is the violence. You know, they're often very understaffed and very dangerous. Like, I've had, one of my friends had a couch thrown at him, and it was very close to me, and I almost had the couch thrown on me by a large, teenage boy who was very big for his age. And then I was almost raped one time. This brain-damaged man was trying to get into my room and touch me in the middle of the night. And we didn't have any nurses on staff to stop him, so my roommate had to, like, hit him, and, like, it was just a mess, you know. Okay, Jess Christophers wants to know, what was my motivation for getting into recovery? I guess I haven't really thought about this until now. But two things pop into my head. The first one is that I almost died. You know, I cut myself in the leg, wound up in the ER, and I almost bled to death. So that was the number one thing. And then also my boyfriend. I was in my first, like, serious long-term relationship with a guy in real life as opposed to online. And they both happened around the same time. I'd been dating him for about a year when I almost died. Almost killed myself on accident. And I was just like, you know, I could have this beautiful, good life with him, and it's worth me being healthy to have this beautiful, good life with him. And that was my motivation to get better. She also asked me, and she asked me this a few days ago, but I'm going to address it anyway. She asked me, how do people react to my scars? Well, and she was asking about my boyfriend. Well, I've had, two boyfriends and a girlfriend see my scars before. And none of them gave a shit in the slightest, because they loved me for who I was. And they did not care, it did not bother them, did not faze them in the slightest. So I've been very lucky in that way because some people have had bad experiences. Now, with strangers and in the street, if I accidentally show my scars, that's a completely different story. You know, I make sure to cover pretty well in public. But as far as like people that I'm close to and my close friends, you know, I've gone to the pool in my friend's backyard wearing a bikini with a bunch of people there, and it's been fine, you know, and with good friends. It's no problem. Okay, there's one more. How long did it take you, oh, this is Zephyrus Hale from Alex Addicted to. How long did it take you to fully recover from self-harm, and did you ever rebound and end up starting again? Well, I don't believe in such thing as full recovery, just because I feel like recovery is a lifelong process, and I feel like you're always going to have some urge to do something that you're not supposed to, and, you know, everyone is going to have that. So there's no such thing as being perfectly all better, you know, but as far as recovery, I have not injured in about 2.5 years now, but I started like 4 years ago. In the past 4 years, I've only injured like 4 times. So I went like, you know, I injured twice the first year and then like once the second year, I think. And then once the third year or something. Yeah. So I went like a year without injuring in between those times, you know. But like I would relapse every day on the day that I almost killed myself, which is really, you know, sad and morbid. But I wouldn't cut myself all year, and then on the anniversary of the day that I almost killed myself by cutting my leg open, I would cut myself again. I don't know why, I can't explain it quite yet. But anyway, those are the questions, and please leave more in the comments or message me on YouTube or on Facebook. My name is Sifascary. Find my like page, Sifascary. Thanks guys.